Prophetess Nabia Kelly, a prolific, much sought-after preacher, a mother of two, theologian, biblical scholar who teaches the unadulterated gospel. With prophetic accuracy, a now word prophet who is keen to shift trajectories and captivate any audience with her tailor-made anointing. She is intercessor, prayer warrior, author, counselor, teacher, consultant, entrepreneur, visionary, relentless, wealth magnet, and shy of being timid when confronting one's destiny. Full of character, personality, and ability to be transparent. Bold, coupled with confidence, zeal, passion. She is definitely a force to be reckoned with. A duck's back with evident grace and favor from God's prophetess. Nabia Kelly walks with a PhD, prophecy, healing, and deliverance, and the God-given ability to flow in the demonstration and power of God, with miracle signs and wonders, and an evident anointing to destroy yokes, bondages, and captives to be set free. Prophetess Nabia Kelly is a trailblazer and fire starter and can defy the forces of darkness to bring God's saving power to this in need of a savior. We welcome Prophetess Nabia Kelly, one who will set you free to be healed and made whole.
Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to day 97. What? Y'all, we have 3 days, three days remaining. Are you kidding me right now? Listen, a lot can happen in 3 days. He got up in 3 days. Don't get me started this morning with a good Holy Ghost shout. The Lord got up in 3 days. There is still time for us to Brother Craig, do you understand? 3 days he got up. That's what I heard. But there is still time for God to do exceeding abundantly above all we can ask or think. So good morning. Let me see who is here this morning. Good morning, Apostle. Good morning, Chanel. Good morning, Brina. Good morning, KB. Good morning, Erica. Good morning, Pastor K. Good morning, Craig Robinson. Good morning, Jody Joe. Good morning, Robin. Hello. Good morning, Chanel. How are you guys doing this morning? Do me a favor. Like, share, tag, invite. Let the people know that we are in the virtual sanctuary house of the Lord. 3 more days. 3 more days. And oh my gosh, the Lord has truly been faithful to us during this time together on this iBirth, I Am a Finisher series. I'm telling y'all. Now, y'all know once we're done with these 100 days, it's going to feel weird to not get up, right? I know we all were like, Lord, just let us make it to 100. And once we get to 100, the next day we're going to be like, man, we don't have to get up this morning, right? Good morning, Janine. It's so good to see you. Blessings to each of you who are coming in this morning. It is such an honor to be on this live platform with you once again. The past couple of weeks, it's been a blessing to be able to grace this platform. Good morning, Katrina Fuller. Thank you, Chanel. We've been, just covering various pillars of influence, right? And those areas that the body of Christ should be very influential in, right? And so the last pillar that we've been touching so far is the pillar of arts and entertainment. And it's been a really, really great series. Yesterday, we had a chance to just touch on it. Well, we were supposed to touch on it a little bit more yesterday, and God had a whole nother thing, you know what I mean, in line. And then, this is technically like 2.0, you know what I mean? But I'm really excited about today. Again, I'm so excited to have you guys with us. So do us a favor once again. Good morning, D'Angela. Go ahead, share, tag, and invite. Let your friends, your family members, your neighbors know. Thank you, Robin. Yes, it was. Man, to God be the glory for that. Let your family members, your friends, your cousins and them know that we are on live right now for day 97 of the hashtag iBirth, hashtag I Am a Finisher series. Those of you who have a testimony about how God has done some amazing things in your life during the series, can you just throw a hand up in the chat for me this morning? I am a living witness. Listen, that God has done some great things. Just of course, a brief testimony. You guys have heard it already. I started my vocal lessons business officially. Had it, got my license on this iBirth series. Man, y'all saw how the live went with Dr. Cole and Apostle Kelly. Like that was a whole nother breakthrough moment, right? Like it's just been so many things have been happening on this iBirth series. Doors have been opened. Just God has just been doing some great things with just oh man, opening up, just our ears to hear his voice, opening up our eyes to see him, allowing us to be more sensitive to his spirit, to his presence, to his leading and his guidance. If we didn't get nothing out of this series, this iBirth series, this should have taught us discipline on another level. You understand what I'm saying? And like we said yesterday, this should have taught us to guard our heart, right? To guard our hearts for sure. Yes, good morning, Apostle. She's saying good morning to you guys in the chat. How's it going? This has taught us discipline for sure and understanding the importance of setting our day, preparing our day, right? This showed us the importance of putting God first. This showed us the importance of making sure that the needful thing is the needful thing. Like we're putting God ahead of our day. We're making sure that that God gets the glory and that we dedicate our day to him so that whatever comes after we walk out of our doors, we know that God is with us and God is on our side. And so these past 96 days have been amazing. Again, welcome to day 97 of 100 of the iBirth I Am a Finisher series. And today I'm truly excited because you guys have asked for it, and so by popular demand, we have another day of of our arts and entertainment pillar, and so I think you guys are going to be very surprised. You're going to enjoy this one. I think you're going to find out some information that you may or may not know, but I think it's going to be good, right? And just completing our arts and entertainment, and what better way to top it off than by bringing someone on who is a part of the MGM family, right? So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please help me welcome to the virtual stage, Miss Octavia Clark. Whoa!
Morning.
What's up?
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well, thank you. It's so good to see you this morning. Thank you for being a part of our live today, a part of the arts and entertainment pillar. It's been an amazing week, and of course it continued through this week right here. And so when Apostle and I were talking about who to bring on, she was like, ask Tay. I was like, she does have music history for sure. You know what I mean? And so thank you for being with us this morning. MGM Nation, can y'all say what up to Tay? Hey, Tay.
Good morning. I see Robin. Good morning, Erica. Chanel, good morning. Good morning, Jody. Okay, people up today. Well, it's been like you said, it was kind of in the groove now.
Right.
Yes.
For sure. Look at Chanel. What's up, Octavia? Yes. So, man, this morning, beautiful people, we are so honored to have Octavia here with us. For those of you who are new to the MGM platform, Octavia is a member of our church under our pastor, Dr. Apostle Prophetess Nabia Kelly. And Tay has some things to offer to us today. And for those of you that are a part of the MGM family and you don't know, Octavia has a very rich musical background history, right? Like it's family deep, for real, for real. Sure. And so today we're gonna dive in just a little bit about what you do, what you've done, where you're looking forward to going, your influence that you've had. And so I'm excited to have this time with you today. And so hey, good morning, Aisha. Good to see you. Who else do we miss in the chat? I believe, did we speak to Miss Brina? Hi, Miss Brina.
No, Miss Brina, Janine. Good. That we caught up with everybody after Aisha.
Yeah, Janine said, and some quiet swag.
Right. Yes, I am quiet.
Quiet swag. I love it.
Good morning, Prophet.
I love it. So just for a moment, good morning. Let's just pretend that the people don't know you.
Okay.
Please greet the people, let them know who you are, and just a little bit about you before we dive into some of the questions.
Okay, so I feel like coming to MGM, my name became Octavia again. I like rarely heard Octavia. I'm always like Tay, and then I have some background in law enforcement, and with law enforcement, you go by last name. So it's just so interesting. Now I'm in my 30s, and I'm now being called Octavia. It's never happened. So sometimes
Really?
Yes.
So growing up, what did they call you?
Tay or Tay.
Wow.
And then at the workforce, it was like my first job that I was at for a long time. It was like a lot of people that knew me. So I was like Tay at the workplace. And then I went into another job, which was law enforcement. And like I said, and within law enforcement, you go by your last name. So it was Clark. So now it's like to hear Octavia, it's just hilarious because it's like, I've never heard that. Like,
wow. So isn't that something? So look, getting all up in your business. So like when you go on dates and stuff, what name do you give them?
I give Octavia. Well, I give Octavia. I give Octavia. I'll go Octavia. You know, sometimes you give a fake name. I'm not gonna give y'all my fake name, but yes,
Octavia.
I'll tell myself yes, Octavia. I'll go with that one. For those of us who were on the Jamaica trip, they know my other name.
Oh my Lord. No, look, to that point, I laugh sometimes because like if I go somewhere with Apostle Kelly and we have to give a name, and they're like, "What name to put this under?" Kelly, and I'll be over there dying laughing. Because of course they think that's her first name, and I'm like, "Hey, I know that's right. Don't give them your government because these people like crazy in these streets." You know what I mean? So I totally understand it.
Big name is needed.
But this is the crazy though. Even when I give people my name, they still don't believe it's my name. So I'm like, what's the use? Like I tell Princess, hey, my name is Princess. Look at her. Don't start, Apostle. I said, my name is, I tell them, what name to put on the Princess? Is that your real name? Yeah. Like they don't believe me anyway. So I'm like, well, maybe I could just give them another name just because, or they won't even believe that it's my name. So I'm like, okay, well, whatever. You know what I mean? My dad, with me growing up, on my mom's side, everybody called me Princess. As I got older, my uncles, they only call me P. And then on my dad's side, they all call me Victoria.
Okay, because that's your middle name.
Yes.
Okay.
And on a good day, he only calls me Vic. Vic, okay. Yes, Father. So listen, yeah.
We got to get you a fake name now.
I got to get a fake name. What do I?
Just for fun.
Well, what do I look like? What kind of fake name? Like what vibe do I give for a fake name? One time, somebody called me China. They said I look like a China doll.
Okay, China.
I don't know if I feel China though. Do I feel like a China?
No, you gotta feel it. When you say it, you'll feel it. Be like, that's it. So if you're not feeling China, then we can't go with that. You're gonna know.
I don't feel China.
Hit. Oh, prophetess, I am done.
You know what? And all Hannah calls me is Prince Alore. I don't know where she got it from. Hannah calls it Prince Alore. That's my name from forever. I think since Megavision, my name has been Prince Alore. That's all she calls me. Man, I don't even know.
It's gonna come. Just let it happen, and then you're gonna be like, "That's it." You're gonna be like, "That's it." Trust me.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. If y'all got some aliases in the chat this morning, let us know. Put y'all business in the street.
For sure.
Apostle Kelly gave us about 3 already.
Right? Pocahontas, so Exotica, I am done.
Robin said Dr. Kells. I know that's right. So just for a moment, like, if you don't mind, can you please give our viewers today just a little history on who Octavia is, maybe where you were born and raised, this, that, and the third, and then we'll jump into some questions today about the arts and entertainment.
Okay, so no problem. Yes, I was born in New York. I was born in the Bronx, and then I lived in Yonkers, New York. Around middle school age, I moved to New Jersey. So I have a lot of upbringing in New Jersey before I came back to New York as an adult on my own. As we talked about in the family part of iBirth, there's no hiding that I have the church background. I'm like the church kid, choir, all of that. And I did love it. I know a lot of people don't have a lot of great church experiences, but I'm one of those people that overall it was great. Like you said earlier, musically is just a big deal in my family, and they start us from very young. I'm talking about as soon as you come out, like you're singing, you're in the choir, they're telling you to sing. I'm sure you know how that goes, where you're going to be in alto, tenor, soprano section. It's not even a discussion. It's just what you do.
Right. Right.
But since we have so many, I have like a large family. My grandparents migrated from the South, West Virginia, to New York. So it's like, it was about 7 of them. So they, of course, had children that had children that had children. So it's just so many of us. And music is everybody, whether it's a drum, singing, writing, organ, piano, everybody has some level of, musical ability. And it's like from young, even now with my sister's kids, they're 4. Like we sit and we sing. Like the Disney movies are a big deal. That's where, because a lot of celebrities too, like you can tell somebody who came from the church by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
They riff. It's like, oh yeah, I'd be like, yeah, she's from Baptist. She's from Baptist. The way they do it,
for
riff,
real.
That's Kojic. It's like you really can honestly tell.
You can tell the denomination they came from by how they sing.
Yes, you
what
by how they riff is certain. Kojic is a little bit more proper. Baptist, they get a little bit more free and wild. Like, when you get to like the Pentecostal and Methodist, they're even more like, safe with the singing. Think about it. Just think about it.
So I know immediately the first thing that comes to my mind where it's like, it's undeniable. She grew up in church with Fantasia.
Absolutely.
Undeniable. It's
For
undeniable.
Sure.
So if we did not know, what denomination would you put her under?
She's absolutely Baptist because she takes off her shoes.
So does Patty
I would
LaBelle.
give her Baptist, maybe Kojic, but I'll give her Baptist. I could say
Patty
maybe
LaBelle
Kojic.
look like Kojic. Patty LaBelle gives Kojic vibes.
Yes. Yeah, come on. She got the shawl and everything. Yeah, she definitely give Kojic for sure. Always dressed up. Yes.
Yes. And
see, think about it. You can tell.
That's true. And then, James Brown too.
He's Baptist. Gotta be. He's all over.
But he was very, I was gonna say he was very, just outgoing with his presentations, and he was, oh my gosh. Erica said Jennifer Hudson.
She can be tricky because she's like very loud with her singing, but she also keeps it cute in her movie.
Right, like she might give holiness vibes.
Yeah, she definitely. Yes, holiness, but she listens to like secular when her mother leaves the house or something.
Right.
Yeah.
On the record player, her mama ain't even know.
For sure.
Dang, that's crazy.
That's
the first time I heard somebody say that, though. It makes sense. That was the first time I heard somebody say that. Like, you could tell what denomination the singer grew up in by how their presentation. That is crazy. That is crazy.
You're blown away, huh?
I am, because now I'm thinking about myself.
Yes, it's going to make sense going forward when you see certain singers.
I'm thinking about myself, like, of course, like growing up in church, like I told you guys before, like I grew up holiness, right? Because that's the church my grandfather started. But my mom, she led worship at a Pentecostal church. And then once Granddaddy moved from Savannah to Douglas, Georgia, he pastored like a couple Baptist churches, which that gives the whole undergirding of hymns and all that kind of stuff, and like straight up devotion, right? Well, we did devotion at Calvary Temple as well, Holiness Church. And then Uncle Kenny, he led worship at Pastor Dollar's church here in Atlanta, which was at, I can't remember what they started as, but I remember them just being like non-denominational. So I got like a good mix of different denominations. So I'm trying to see like what vibe I give though. Is it like a gumbo of things?
It probably is because of the age group you fall into. So it's different because we have the social media influences, the more traveling from church to church, our age group. So it's like more of a melting pot, whereas older generations, it was just what they knew, what they were taught. And you're talking about if you go like 3 generations up, then that's straight from slavery.
Right.
So it's more, it's going to be different probably for you.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you think about those who came before you, then they all are similar, like wherever they're coming from. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Because even now we don't even really have choirs a lot anymore. It's no more.
I know, and I like a good choir.
Yes, I do too. I love a choir. I do.
Wow, that's so cool. So musical family, that you came from a musical family. So does that mean that you're like your parents, they sang, they played and all that as well?
My mom did. My dad, he's not. My dad's side, I don't know if, have you ever heard of the House of Prayer for All People?
I have heard of House of Prayer. They had actually a couple down in Savannah.
Yeah, so my father's side, he comes from that. So they're more instruments. If the House of Prayer, if you ever look them up, their music is amazing, but they are they come from bands. They don't have that much singing. Okay. It's a lot of trombones, trumpets, and it's a whole other vibe. But now my mother's side, yes, this is like the singers. These are the voices, and it's like I said, it's generational. From we laugh at the way our grandparents sang because they have the southern accents, or so it's just hilarious. But yeah, it's generational. Everybody literally sings, and it's like I said, it's all right. You over here, you over there, you over there. Like and you listen, number one, by how somebody talks, but as you know, you're a vocal coach, so people can change their voice when they sing. So it could be you can have somebody like a Toni Braxton, who her tone is a little bit lower. Or you can have some people who can change it. Like, what is that? Michelet? She sings completely different from how she talks.
Completely different.
So it's like, all right, completely. No, the whole do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and then it's like, all right, you're going here, you're going there, and it's just what it was. And they just really, we had to learn these songs. It was like a big deal. Here, before you were reading, they were telling you this, and you had to repeat it over till you get the words. Now, and of course, they literally would come in. It was like, all right, this is a new song that we're going to sing. And they're handing out the paper. And you had to just repeat the words for weeks. And then it's like, this is how you sing it. So it was fun. It was fun.
Oh, my goodness. So you guys, y'all had straight up rehearsals at the house.
Well, yeah, or at the church. So, yes, at the house, as far as the parent was in charge of teaching the kid at the home. So when we all came back together, we were kind of on the same page.
Wow. Yeah. See, that's so cool. Okay, so needless to say, beautiful people, I guess you can tell by us talking that Tay is in the music side of the arts and entertainment industry. Besides music, though, is there another? Are there any other areas that you flow into as it pertains to arts and entertainment?
I would say writing. I'm realizing now that I like more of writing than to be the actual artist. I feel I'm like very self-aware, and being an artist, especially today, it requires a lot. It requires a lot of like speaking with other people. It's like you have to really sell yourself, and I'm not really big on that. I'm very quiet. I'm introverted. I can tap into my extroverted side, but it's not something that I necessarily love. So I'm at a place now. It's like, okay, I want to write music, and you get more money. You get more money.
Absolutely.
You write music, you give it to somebody, and that's just it. I enjoy that. I'm realizing now more than the whole artist aspect. It's a lot of work to be an artist, and I feel like now it's not as. It's always been a job, but I feel like artists back in the day had more fun. It was more genuine. You happen to be a person who had a talent, and then you had this personality. And it was like they sold who you were. I feel like now it's much more of processed. Like, it's not necessarily who the person really is. Like they're creating a star rather than a star already being born, and they're cultivating what they already have. It's like, no, we're going to put you with the writer. We're going to put you with the stage presence person, the vocal coach. And it's like, this is what you're going to be, rather than taking what the person actually is and building off that. So I'm not really into that. And I also think now being more famous and viral is trumping talent. Whereas a lot of people,
oh my gosh, that's so real.
Fame, or whatever you're selling. So I'm not really interested in that anymore.
Yeah. And it's almost disheartening, to be honest with you, to that point that you just made. Like the artists that I guess some of us feel should be more on the forefront, they get slighted, you know what I mean? And you're right, like the people that are in the forefront now, you're like, what is this you have to offer? Like when we were growing up, like I felt like the music that we grew up on, like I'm an 80s baby, so the stuff to me, once after 2002, I feel like the music just got horrible. Like it's no content, it's no like it's just ridiculous, right? And you're right, the artists that deserve that platform. I think about artists like Jasmine Sullivan, or I think about like Brandy, or underground artists like Anthony Davis, or like Algebra, or people like that. To me, I'm like, they deserve a shot because number one, they have the talent. Number two, they actually have something to offer. Like, they're the ones that get slighted. Like, I don't know that I've ever heard a Brandy song on radio, to be honest.
Ever? Not even back then? Like, you mean now?
Maybe sitting up in my room. Like, that was the only, they played that because it was on the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack.
Yeah.
But which
is one of my favorite soundtracks, by the way.
Oh man, great soundtrack. But besides that song, I'm literally trying to think if I've ever heard another Brandy song on the radio. Did they play that one with her and Wanye on the radio?
Which one is that one?
You're right, Pastor K. The Boy Is Mine with
I feel like
with Monica.
Best friend.
Best friend will always be around. Best friend.
No, that one. Don't know what I'd ever do without you from the beginning. That one. I think that's called Best Friend, right?
Is that called Best Friend? I know what you're talking about.
I Want to Be Down. Yes, that was, But also regional radio is different regional too. So maybe
you're right. You're right.
But yeah.
But you're right though. Listening, like, who else was like slighted? Like I think Jennifer. Not Jennifer. What we just said, Jasmine.
No, I agree. Jasmine. Yeah, she's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Man, the girl is cold vocally. Like she can hands down sing. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like as far as putting respect on their name, like they didn't really get much respect in the industry. But you're right. Like I think all of us saw, if we really paid attention to how the industry kind of broke Jasmine a little bit, to me, that she came out. Of course, we know she was on the heaviest hour. She came out. She was still a beautiful girl to me. But then you saw where it was like industry pressure was kind of like, nah, you got to be a certain size. You got to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yo. Like, but it kind of seemed as if for a moment she went through a season of unhappiness. And you tend to see that a lot in the industry because the creativity is almost like sucked out of the people. You're right. Like, I'm not a fan of Kiki Wyatt, but that's just me.
Because she does a lot.
She does a whole lot just in life, but that's just me. But she can't sing. I can't take that away from her. Robin, she can sing though. Can't take it away from her. But it's like, you see the artistry side. To your point, they take away your creativity at times. You know what I mean? Like, the industry can take away your creativity at times, which is why I was so pleased to see that a lot of artists are now really making it mainstream, even just like not even being signed to a label. Like one of my favorite artists that I've had a chance to meet and really just become friends with, he and his wife, is Jordan Armstrong. Like, he's not signed to anybody's label, but the boy is cold. Like, he's all over the place. I'm talking about topping charts in the gospel industry as an independent artist. And that was very encouraging to me. You know what I mean? To see that it can be done, because, at one point in time, it was like, oh, you can't make it as an indie artist type thing, or you just stayed underground.
It's true. And then now it's so expensive to even be indie. It's just, even though you get all the money back just about, but you have to put it out. So it's like the corporations aren't involved to get you the proper radio play. And before it was like DJs were big. DJs are big in the South, right? DJs are big in the South.
Yeah, we like a good DJ.
So the DJs were excited to break a song. Now they don't care. It's just like, it could be the worst song ever, but if you pay them to play it, but before it was like more integrity. Like, no, I want to be the one to break this new artist. But I will say that the South is much more welcoming to new artists. I think what's great about, especially Georgia, Atlanta, they all get around the new artists and will, play them, promote them. New York is completely opposite. Like, if you think about most New York artists, they've made it elsewhere and then they had to bring it back. New York is very difficult. It's very tough. It's no togetherness. It's like this borough and this artist is from this borough. It's like, they say Atlanta. You have people that say Atlanta. They're not even from Atlanta. They're just from Georgia. but it's just Atlanta is the go-to. No, in New York, it's like, I'm from the Bronx, I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from Queens. It's like, there's no New York. It's
Yes.
if you ask somebody where they're from, they're going to say the Bronx. They're going to say Brooklyn. Whereas if you ask somebody where they're from, they're going to say Georgia. It's the whole state. So that transfers over into the music. It's no togetherness. And they don't really embrace the newer artists. It's like, they got to figure it out on their own. Whereas I think the South, like Miami, Texas, Georgia, you guys are much more inclined to push a newer artist.
That is so interesting. Wow. Yes, Janine, that is a great song. She's talking about Jordan Armstrong's song. Wait a second, let me brag on my God. He's the truth. Yeah, it's showing off. That's a great one, Janine. Have you heard the entire record? Like, you got to check it out. So, Tay, please tell the people, how long have you been in this industry, in the music industry? How long have you been in the music industry?
I would say about 10. I decided to rap because, like I said, everybody sang, and it was just like I've just always liked to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And Bow Wow, I don't know if everybody remembers Bow Wow. Bow Wow,
not Bow Wow.
He gets the jokes, but he was like the man when he's a couple years older than me, but he was like the guy. Bow Wow had a song called Bounce With Me, and I just was sitting there. Yep, and I made a rap back to him saying, I want to bounce with you, Bow Wow. It's so corny, I know. And I went, and my sister, I said, I think I could rap. And she was like, yeah, right. And I was like, no, really, I think I could rap. And then I rapped it, and then it was like, it was hot. It was fire. So then ever since then, I just started, like, I got a notebook, and I would just write in it every day. And then as I got older, it just got really better. And then I still have a squeaky voice, but I had like this even squeakier voice. So I was also called Mousy by my cousins. And I'm around, it's half. It's like half guys, half girls. But I was the only one that said, I want to rap. Like, everybody else was singing. We would be Destiny's Child, or we would be TLC. And of course, I wanted to be Left Eye.
Of course.
The rapper. And then I always knew I was different because once again, being the girl, like, I'm over there listening to the guys debate about Jay-Z. Like, I remember the Jay-Z and Nas beef. Like, it was a big deal. And it was like, I'm like, I can participate in these debates, and I knew what I was talking about. But of course, it's like, get out of here. You the little cousin, you the little girl, get out of here. But back in the day too, the studio, it wasn't as many studios. Now it's a studio everywhere. So like, going to a studio was a big deal. You had to book the session, like, it would get the engineer. It's not like now where everybody has a Mac and a mic, and you could just, which is great, but then it was like exclusive to go to a studio. So I begged them, like, take me to the studio. Like, I could rap, let me rap. And he's like, oh, Mousy, get out of here, whatever. And I remember I went, they finally was like, all right. And it was like a pity party. It wasn't even like, all right, just let's take her to the studio so she could just be quiet. And then the beat came on, and I just started rapping, and then you could just see everybody's mouth was like,
because they didn't know.
Yes. And then like my other cousins that I would rap for, they was like, I told you, she knows how to rap. So it started from there, and they actually would let me tag along because I was little. I was like 10, 12, they're in there 20. The reality of the studio, it's not the best environment, especially with hip hop. So it's like, the weed smokers had to get out when I was coming. So I kind of like messed up the flow. It was like, get these kids out of here. Like, stop bringing her here. Like, we can't, girls can't be here. The smoking and the drinking. So that was 10 years old. And then I have like a lot of family. Kabira, she said, Pastor Kabira is my manager. That is hilarious. So just being around, just begging them to take me to the studio and stuff like that. And they would, some of the days they would really take me, and I just really enjoyed the environment of just being in there, just to see, you just hear a beat. Or even if you start with the producer, you just hear them. It sounds crazy when they first start, and it's like, what is happening? Then it comes together to be like a great beat. And a lot of the songs that we love started with the beat.
Of course.
Then you have the person that comes in and then creates words to the beat. Like, it's such a beautiful process. Really is a beautiful process. And then interesting to see how people set their certain, like, I like light flow when I'm recording. Some people like candles. Some people like a lot of people. Like, everybody has their own creative process. So it's really I love the experience of being in there, creating from scratch.
Yeah, it is a very dope experience for sure. Man. So starting at age 10 is when you like really remember knowing that there was something really special about you, and there was something different that you could do, right? So did you just negate singing altogether, or did you mix it in with your rap? How did that go?
Singing was more so because I had to. Like I can't go rap in church. And honestly, I do not like, no offense to anybody, gospel rap. I just can't take it. So it just doesn't do it for me. But in church, it was more so that was still the thing. It was because you didn't have a lot of women rappers. It was like then like, you know, the Little Kims, but it's like a thing. A woman being a rapper is the thing, but it wasn't the case. So you're talking about like early 2000. Well, that was like 2000. I'm telling my age, which is fine. But it's like, you know, to be in 1999 rapping as a girl, it wasn't common. It was a few, and then it was in between. It was like this rapper and this year. Then now you have Eve 2 years later. It wasn't like now if you go on the radio and it's a whole bunch of girls rapping. So it wasn't as pushed as it is now.
I agree. And you're right. Like back in the day, gospel rap was like, what in the world? I'm like, you don't have to be corny to rap.
Yeah, I can't do it. I don't know.
I think the two that kind of broke the stigma for gospel rap for me is 1K Few and Lecrae. It's another guy. His name is KB. Like, especially 1K Few. Like, if you don't know that he's a Christian, you'll be like, oh, okay then. You know what I mean? Like, he's pretty cool. And he actually started under like the Kenton Jones camp, and then he branched off and you know, just kind of took flight from there. But yeah, he's pretty dope as far as the rap is concerned. Like, he definitely can cross boundaries, like unless you just know who he is. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So what has been your experience been like in the field of arts and entertainment? Like, since you've been now in the industry, so how long have you actually been in the music industry, like full-time, right? Like, when did you break in per se? And what has been your experience like being a woman in the arts and entertainment industry?
So it is rough. I will honestly say for a woman, it's rough. It's not the safest. Like, you know, if you have a guy rap, not to say that men don't experience these things also, but you know, there are differences. It's like, I'll get a phone call like, hey, we want you to come to the studio. And it's like, is it safe there? Like, I can't just, as a woman, you cannot just go by yourself. You don't know what you're walking into. It's just a lot of things that go on. And because we're talking about the hip hop world, like I'm not a gospel artist. So not to say things don't happen in those arenas also, but hip hop, you know, it's sexual, it's drugs, it's turn up, it's a lot on that end, whether it's a small scope or a large scope. It's not always a professional atmosphere. Now, if you have a atmosphere like they're serious, they're like, all right, this is a song we have to do, because you have some like managers, it's like no drinking, it's no smoking, it's no homeboys or homegirls. Let's get this done. But then you have the other element where it's just like they don't care what they're doing as long as the song is produced. And some people, that is the environment they need. You have some people that need their homeboys, their homegirls, the alcohol, the weed to produce. Well, or they think they do. So it can be an interesting environment. It can be very unsafe. So I feel like that has limited me as far as, you know, having people to come along with you, especially as you get older and you have people that are more in professional settings. You know, they have to be to work in the morning. A lot of people's schedules are different, but most people work through the night in the music industry.
That's true.
Like work all night, sleep all day. And when you're balancing a job to fund that, it can be a little bit difficult. I would say college, I started taking it serious. I started like doing music videos and really like putting songs out. So I had a friend, but we were in college. We didn't have anything to do but go to class and do whatever. So he would really go with me everywhere because, again, you're going now to dorm rooms to record. So it was like he really, and I thank God for him. He went with me literally everywhere. And when you got there, he was needed to be there. Like, it was like,
wow.
He was needed to be there. So even when we graduated, at first he would come with me a lot because you'll get a call like, hey, come to Queens. We want you to come to this session. It's like, Now I'm on the train at 2 a.m. You know, it's a lot that goes into it. So I would say I took it serious more about around college. I will say though, on the other side, I think I also limited myself because I'm not the bubbliest person. Like I'm very to myself. That can be misread a lot as somebody being, you know, stuck up, stank. So I do feel like that limited me as far as making a lot of networking connections. Also, because you have to be that person. You have to really walk up and say, "Hi, I'm so and so. This is what I do." You have to really just like sell yourself.
Yeah,
and I just didn't have that really in me, and not even from a bad place. It just was like, nah, I'm not gonna go over there. And it's like we call it mixy in New York.
Yeah.
But it's like you gotta like, hey, you want to take a picture? Like, you know, and it's just that is just not
Yeah.
my style.
You gotta shake some hands and kiss some babies.
So I think I kind of was in my way a little bit. But I wouldn't say every experience. I met a lot of great people that I was able to meet. You really open yourself up to different musical styles, musical abilities. Like I said, with instruments, like people don't realize there's a difference too with beat makers. You got people that can just tap on the beat machine. Then you have people that play like real instruments. So when you think of Motown, those are legit instruments. These aren't. This is somebody playing every little thing you hear. Somebody's behind there playing that. So I learned a lot about that. And I actually also, just to throw a wild card fact in there, I used to play the alto saxophone also. But it just got too heavy, so I couldn't do it anymore. It was too heavy.
Is that the only instrument you played?
Yeah, that's the only one I haven't played. Yeah.
I played the clarinet a little bit in high school.
Okay. Most girls did clarinet or the flute.
I only did it because I was going out for drum major. And in the band, you had to be able to play an instrument to try out for drum major.
Okay, cool. All right. So you were a clarinet person. Okay.
I was a clarinet girl. So you mentioned that you weren't really big on, you know, the whole just having to walk up to people and talk to them about who you are, this, and the third. Do you feel like not doing that hindered your progress in the music industry a little bit?
Absolutely, because and I didn't realize it then. It was about making connections, and you have to take risks. And I wouldn't even say like I wasn't afraid. It just wasn't my thing. And I think you have to be, when you want something, you have to really realize what it takes to get that. And you have to decide if you're going to do what it takes. And being in the industry, it takes you being this like light bulb that just like, I'm more like it's like a hidden treasure. Like people will get to know me and they'll be like, oh my God, like but then you have some people that walk in the room and you can just see it, you know, from, but you have to be that person or at least bridge the gap between those two. Nobody knows that I have all this talent. You have to show them that. You have to tell them. So I definitely, yes, absolutely. I hindered myself. Absolutely.
Got you. So can you kind of, I know besides rapping, you just mentioned that you're getting into more writing. What else do you do in the music industry? Like, do you produce? Are you a content creator? Like, what all do you do in your field of arts and entertainment?
So I'm now interested in possibly going into the podcast world, speaking more so. I do enjoy, now that I'm much more comfortable and more interested in showing my personality, I definitely would be interested in that. I would love to like maybe, you know, host a podcast, even a talk show. I do enjoy, I didn't realize it then, you know, I guess that's just the evolution of growing up, that I enjoy like getting to know, like how you're asking me these questions. I would enjoy being on the other side because I'm interested in people's minds. Like, why are you the way you are? Like, what makes you work the way you work? So I would love things like that. Content, I don't mind it. I'm just not somebody who, like, if I can have somebody give me some of the ideas and then just, it's so many small parts to make the big vision, and the small parts kind of frustrate me. So if I can have somebody more so like, this is what we're going to do, not just them, us together work, like this is what we're going to do and then make it happen, but to just start from scratch, it's a lot. Like people don't realize like one little reel, the thought and the work that may have gone into it. It's the
editing, all of that.
It's a lot. I started editing reels and it was just like, I just threw the phone. It was like, it's a lot. So God bless everybody who really, really sticks to it.
Oh my gosh. So let our viewers know today how many, so of course you guys heard Octavia said that she's a rapper, right? How many records have you recorded? What was that process like for you in recording your record? You know, did you do video content with your record? Like kind of talk us through your creative process as to, you know, from like start to finish.
So my creative process, I'm very beat driven. Like, so I'll hear a beat and it'll like, people gonna think I'm crazy, but it'll talk to me. Like you can, if you really, because music, you feel it. Before you hear it, you have to feel it. Some people just hear music, but you have to feel it. Like, so certain songs, you can hear the beat, the melody, and it's like, it'll tell you, this sounds like heartbreak. This sounds like love. This sounds like fun. This sounds like anger. This sounds like sadness, whatever. And what's interesting about that, we can both hear the same beat and doesn't necessarily mean we'll hear the same thing.
Exactly.
Some songs is like I always say, like DMX, Party Up, you know that's hypeness, right? But some, you can have a whole different perspective of the beat. So for me, the beat is where it starts. Like, what is this song saying to me? Then now how can I put what comes to my head into words? So I'll figure out what I want to say. And then it's like, okay, how do I make this rhyme? Like, I want to say this, but it has to rhyme, of course. I rap. So singing doesn't necessarily have to rhyme. But you cannot, like, rap has to rhyme. Like, every line has to rhyme.
It has to be a rhythm.
Yes, it just has to be. So I'll go into like, what exactly do I want to say? And then put it in a song form. So another realization that I had was there's also a difference between rapping or even singing, writing a song, and then really cultivating a song. Like, before, I didn't really, it just was like, I would write it straight through and that would be it. Now it's more so like, you can write it, but then you could break it apart because this may sound better here. This may fit better here. So that's something that I'm really embracing now, is really cultivating a song. I've been told that I'm very single driven. When I say single driven, that means there's like the B cuts, the B sides, and then there's the songs that make it to radio. Those are like the hit singles that when somebody's, for people that don't know, when you're creating like an album, there are songs that are guaranteed, like we know, like that's for the radio. Then there's songs that are good, but it's like radio may not take a liking to it, which you could be surprised, but radio may not take a liking to it. So I've been told that I'm like, every song that I make sounds like it could be on the radio, which can be very lucrative. So that's why I also want to go into, I'm looking to go into actual writing. But that's pretty much my process. I'll hear the beat, I'll decide what I want to say, and then, you know, you break it up and you put it into pieces. When I go to the studio, like I said, I like the lights dim. I don't really like a lot of people in the studio. I don't need, it does nothing.
An entourage.
Yes, I don't need that. So it could just be me and maybe the engineer, and then maybe one other person just to give a different perspective. I'm very open. Certain things you already know, like this is what you want to say. This has to stay. But then there's other parts that are like, you know, somebody will say, put this here, put that there. I'm open to that. I don't like anybody to write anything for me. You can't come up with a chorus, but my raps, no, I don't do the ghost writing or nothing. I have to write my raps. Now I've had people, you're a vocal coach, to say it like this, do a little bit of this. I'm fine with that. But as far as nobody can write for me, like that's a big deal. And as a rap, well, not anymore, but back then that was a big deal. If you had a ghostwriter, you were like not a real rapper. Like, so I kind of stick with that. And I don't knock people that have ghostwriters because it's hard. It's entertaining. You have a lot of people that are busy. You kind of lose your creative side sometimes being in the industry. So I don't knock, like even Drake, you know, it came out that he had people writing songs for him. He's busy. And then you have these contracts where they say you got to give us 6 albums. That's hard to do. It is not easy to do. One album,
especially they give you a short window.
Album is hard. You know, they have the sophomore jinx. So to even come out with 2 albums, like that's a big deal in the industry. And you have some people that made it to like 7 and 8 classics, like the Michael Jacksons, the Jay-Z's. Like it's not easy to be able to do that. It's not easy at all.
So you're currently, if I heard you correctly, you're currently right now in the process of, good morning, Tiana. You're currently in the process of looking to to get like radio play?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What has that journey been like for you? Because so you've been, of course, we know you've been rapping since 10.
Mm-hmm.
You said in college you really started being more intentional about it, and the pursuit just continued from there, right?
So it
I know
stopped for a while, then I got back into it. Yes, but yes.
Okay. So once you jumped back in, did it seem like you had to work harder, or did you just pick right back up from where you left off? And then, of course, like you said, now just getting into just kind of navigating through red tape per se to try to see about radio play. What has that process been like?
Well, it's difficult because it's expensive. Like we talked about earlier, it's not like before I can pull a DJ to the side and say, hey, listen to this. This is a big deal. This can be big. Before 20 years ago, a DJ would hear it, he'll buy into it and say, I want to be the person that break this artist. Because it was a big deal to be able to say, this artist blew up and I was the first person. It's like with, for those people who watch Love and Hip Hop, with Cardi B, it was the DJ Self. He didn't take her serious. A lot of people didn't take her serious.
Right.
Somebody else that did, and look, she blew up. So it's like, he was kind of like a joke, like, hey, you missed out on that. Like, you didn't take this person serious. And now look at her. She's a superstar. Right. So DJs were big. Like Kabir said, it was a mixtape era. It was a big deal to have this artist in your pocket and say, I helped break this artist. It's not that case anymore. They don't care about breaking the artist. It's about like a popular artist. It's a lot of packages and all of these things that we think are just happening. No, like when you see somebody on your social media, that was a package deal that they paid, let's say $25,000, $20,000 to be on your TikTok, come on your feed. Like the algorithms, like nothing is genuine anymore. It's not like, I think the last like artist was like Bobby Shmurda. That was like, genuinely went viral. Everybody else is, you think it's just, it happened. No, this is like a machine behind, like on this date, we're going to do this. And then following that on this date, we're going to do this. And then you think like this artist is just really like this talented person that just went viral. It's like, no, somebody got behind them, put hundreds of $1,000s to make this work. And it's bad because those artists, they don't make a living. It's like a popcorn generation. It's because you have to pay all of this money back. And then they put way too much money into you from day one, and they're going to get it all back because you just want to be famous. You're a 21-year-old, an 18-year-old. They give you certain chains and necklace, watches. You don't really realize like you're not making what you should be making off this. You're not really making a career. Like, what is the last artist that we have that is lasting for? Good morning, Prophetess. What is the last artist that we've had that for years? It's like you hear somebody a song this summer, then you never hear from them again. But that's, they're looking for the next big thing. It's no, let's focus on this artist and make this person a star. There's no more stars. It's just who's hot for the summer. And that's
but that's because I feel like that's because artist development is almost null and void now. You know what I mean? So talk about that for a second. And for those of you that don't know, artist development is the stuff that happens on the back scene before you see people out in the public performing, right? So it shows them staging, it shows them how to engage with the audience, it shows them how to hold a microphone, how to stand in front of a microphone stand, how to work the stage with the people that you're on stage with. Like, artist development is literally almost like null and void right now, even for rappers. What is your take on artist development? Do you think it's important anymore? Do you feel like, it's not needed? Like, what's your take? Yeah, stage presence. Like, what do you think?
Absolutely. It's very important. It took me a long time to understand my voice, but I had to figure it out on my own. It wasn't like if I had a vocal coach, I could have figured out in 3 months what took me 5 years to figure out, by myself. Stage development, like you said, artist development, how you speak, what things you should say in the interview.
Yeah.
Like you said, how to sit right.
It's
how to
the
sit
whole
right.
thing.
Certain things you're gonna wear, like yes, it's very important. Even you have some artists, they sound, even singers, it's much more difficult. I'll give you a little bit of a break. But you have people that sound great on records, but if you go to their show, they sound horrible.
Yeah.
like no shade, but like Ashanti's one of those people. Like she doesn't sound the best
live. Yeah.
But it's like somebody could have sat there and gave her vocal lessons to make her better. Like some people are better singers than others. That's just no
That's
way
true.
around. It just is what it is.
It is what it is.
But you can really, like Rihanna, she came a long way. You could tell she had some
development.
Coach got with her. Even like Beyonce, I'm a big fan of Beyonce. But like if you look at when she first came out, Beyonce used to just do. You think she did a lot now? She does a lot now. Beyonce used to just be on stage doing stuff. You can tell she found like, I don't have to do this much here. This
is polished.
Where I'll do it. Or even like Michael Jackson, when he pops up and he stands there for 10 minutes and everybody's just going crazy. Like,
yeah.
That is important. What you wear, your brand, all of that goes into the artist's development, but it's just lacking. So you'll have the artist that gets on the stage and you hear them breathing. It's like, that's not good. You're supposed to be on the treadmill singing the songs. I know with Destiny's Child, the Beyonce. So that's why Beyonce's able to sit
her stamina
well.
Because her stamina.
Yeah, for years she was running around the track singing her heart out. So that's a big deal with artist development, and it's just lacking. And I think that's a big part of why we have no stars. It's just the hit song for the summer, because they start performing and it's like, what was that? You never want to see them again. You don't ever want to hear that again, because it's just, they sound horrible.
Yeah, I agree. Apostle, jump on in here.
Yes.
I want to say good morning to Rain.
Good morning.
Good morning, Pastor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Rain. I'm her PR person.
Yes, yes, you are.
Anyway, we give God thanks and praise for everybody. This is just a good, different spiel on behind the scenes, like anybody who wants to pursue the industry, some of the pros, some of the cons, and just some people say it's effortless, but you have to put in the work, right? So a lot of people will lie and say, oh, we got it going on and this and that, but what are they compromising?
Right.
Coming from the gospel background, going into full-fledged rap, I commend you, because one of the first things Pastor Mia said, if for those of you who don't know, Pastor Mia is Octavia's mom. So she was like, Tay's a rapper. I said, but they didn't think that I was going to be okay with it. But that's the area that she felt at the time where she was led to go. And we have to understand, everybody has their maturation period. Until the recent times, I was asking her, what does she feel about the music? What does she want? I think because the spirit of intercession is resting upon her now. And she got to get in the prayer closet. No, we call her intercessor. So we joke about it, but it is true. I think a lot of our interests begin to start changing as we begin to start getting our legs, getting our starting to develop in what area do you feel like you're going to work best. So I think the writing portion, where she was talking about becoming a writer, I think that's one where the money is for real.
Yeah.
To write authentically. Some people just create all kind of stuff. Yeah. And and the artist, you have to assess where you are. She had to assess where she is. If it's realistic, does she want a career? Does she want to do the industry? So those are things that people have to balance. But I just wanted to jump on real quick. I am excited to even see two of our very own in the industry. And you guys actually learn some things that y'all never know about each other, as far as being musically inclined, some of the instruments that y'all played. And most of the time we try to tell kids, I remember Hannah was learning sheet music to play the piano, and now she wants to get back into doing piano and stuff. So we got to find somebody to get her good lessons, right? So these are different things that when you develop the gift and talent, it's always going to stay within. So I encourage any person who wants to pursue the creative space, first, see who you are first. See your identity first. And I think identity starts in every industry. Who are you? Because like Tay said, they're making artists and you're the one with the gifts.
Right.
To make us, we want somebody to come and amplify us and make us better, right? Give us better skills, help us become even better than what we are, because we're born a star, right? But it's just somebody coming alongside us, cultivating the gift a little more and making us into who God has created us. Amen. So I want to encourage you, Tay and Princess. It's time to push forward now. Push forward. Tay is about to start back writing. You got to write my lyrics.
I got you. You singing or you rapping?
I think I'm rapping. Forget about that.
All right.
I'm rapping. I can remember the words. The only words I know in rap is Biggie Smalls and DMX. Okay. That's the only rappers that I know. Because I'm their pastor.
Okay.
Come on.
Or was their pastor.
Well, I was about to say, still.
Cardi B is one of my members of my church. I just ain't here. Right? So I'm the gospel Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
By looks only. So anyway, I love y'all. God bless. Amen.
We love you.
Beautiful. So you get to see a different perspective from people in different pillars of influence. Amen.
Yes. Come on, layers. I see them layers.
Yes.
Come on.
You see that good New York?
Shining.
Come on now.
All right. Love y'all.
Love you too.
So Tay,
yes.
This is gonna be a sticky question because I'm gonna start by saying this. There is somebody for everybody, right? But how do you tactfully ask someone to be realistic about what they bring to the table? Like, there are some people that I personally know right now, they aren't as great as they think they are.
Okay.
But in their minds, they are the it factor. Mm-hmm. And again, I understand there's somebody for everybody. And then I think a part of me want to say this industry now is making it hard because they're just kind of throwing anything our way for us to accept. And unfortunately, this younger generation that's under us, they accept the nonsense and I'm like, yo, this ain't even quality right now. So when you have that in both gospel and R&B or rap or whatever, how do you tell an artist, boo, this ain't it? Like, you need a little bit more development when they genuinely think they got it. So
from the social services field, they come from a place called person-based and trauma-informed. So definitely, I would think lead with a positive if there is any. Like, you're really good at XYZ. You ever think about that? Like, I feel like, while we work on this other end, this is something like where you really have a strong suit. Let's kind of like, how do you feel about focusing on that? Yeah. Now, that's how you can start. But I also think some people do need a reality check. And like, if you have somebody that just doesn't have the best voice, like, you cannot be singing is not for you, and you don't have to say it like that, but come from pulling out the strengths first. Yeah,
I've been struggling, Tay. I've been struggling because there's somebody right now that I personally know. They are amazing. When I say amazing with interior decorating, and it's easy, like the creativity on how the space should look, what colors to use. But when it comes to the music industry, I'm like, yo, if it had not been for money that was on your side, where would you be?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But this person feels like I've made it. I got it going on. Like, how do you politely burst someone's bubble without breaking their spirit and their desire to do what they love, I guess? Good morning, Deborah Oliver. Janine, don't laugh. I'm trying to tread carefully. Janine is laughing. Like, I'm serious, Janine.
I agree, though. I do think a lot of people, they just lack self-awareness. I don't understand, like, when I hear a song, like, there's songs that are bad. Like, then there's songs that may not be what you like. Like, there's some songs that I don't like, but they're not bad. It's just, I don't like this one. Right. But then there's some songs that are just horrible. I don't understand, like, because you're in, the studio process, you playing this song back 40 and 50 times. Like, how do you not hear that this is not good? Like, there's ideas I've had. It's like an outfit. You ever had an outfit idea in your head, and then when you put it together, it was like, nah, this is not it. It's the same thing with music. Like, you may have an idea, and it'd be like, nah, this is not really it. Or the opposite, something that you weren't really feeling, and then it's like, no, this came out actually good. So I don't understand certain people like that don't have the best voice. They're not good at rapping. Like, I just don't get it. I remember I have a friend. He's not the best rapper, but when I tell you his ambition is like out of this world, like he's just like a hard worker. And I went to him. I said, listen, I said, we have what the other person doesn't have. I said, your ambition is much better than mine. You're willing to do the things that I'm not necessarily interested in doing, but I have the lyrics. And I said, you're not, I didn't even say it. He actually said, so you're saying I'm not the best rapper? I said, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I have the writing ability. Let me write your music and you take it and you run with it. And his ego is just so in the way. And it was like, because he's not the best rapper, but he just has that personality that he really works hard. And it's just, now a lot of people that are in my age group, you can see that they're like stepping back from the music because it's just not working. It's just not happening. Wow. Especially when you're coming with actual talent and you want to make music that says something. It's just not the place for. I'm not gonna say it's not the place for. It's not as easy to make your mark right now, because everything is I call it the popcorn music. It's
absolutely
hot for 3 months, and then it's like and then what's interesting too, TikTok. Like TikTok, you'll think a song is good from those 15
just
seconds.
A small clip. Yeah.
You hear the whole song and it's just like, what the heck is that? And also with a lot of artists, they are putting out tours, and the tours aren't doing well because they think they're more popular than they are due to social media. So that's like a big thing that's happening with a lot. I don't want to say their names. Just when we blow up, we don't want to be canceled. We might have to work with them.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'll be being mindful of what I'm saying.
Sure,
but a lot of artists are like struggling because it's this inflated false ego thinking.
Not Pastor Kabira calling our names in the chat.
So yeah, it's like they think that they're bigger than what they are because you have the popularity of social media, and it's like, no, nobody even knows the whole song. It's a lot of songs that I don't even know the whole song. I just know that little part. I think one of the only artists that really, and I'm a big fan of hers, but Money Long. I don't know if you're her. I really love her. Spoke the other day on something. She has a great story. She actually wrote for like Ariana Grande, and she was ready to put out her own music, and they told her like, basically, girl, no, pack it up. We don't want no music from you. Nobody's gonna like that. And then she came out, I think it was like the end of the year. It was like the worst time to come, because even with that, it makes more sense to come out with music like on a Friday back then at this time. So she came out like on the worst day ever. It was like the end of the year, but she took her own money that she made from writing music for other people and made the Hours and Hours song. And then it blew up like within a couple of, because it was so good. And same with the other song, Twin, Where Have You Been? It's like it transferred from social media. Like, no, this is actually a good
song. Yeah.
So she's one of like the few people that are really making it beyond social media, because everybody else is like, no, your song is not
on TikTok.
Yeah, this was a cool part. Everybody did a little dance, but it's just like, it ain't it.
Oh, really, Pastor K? That's interesting. She said Kanye was pushed aside originally from rapping. That's very interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, Dame Dash believed in him. It's either one or the other, because Dame and Jay were partners. One were like, because he was great as a beat maker.
Wow.
But they told him, no, pack it up. Like, rapping is not for you. And then he got in the car accident. Through the Wire is actually, his mouth is wired shut when he's rapping the song. That's why it's Through the Wire. And it was like, I think it was Dame. I can't remember if it was Dame or Jay, but I think it was Dame that was like, no, we got to give this guy a shot. And he came out and he was like, everybody took a liking to him. And then they made fun of him because he had the back, everybody was gangster. He had the backpack with the polo.
Yeah.
It was completely different. And a lot of people moved the needle. Same thing with DMX. They told DMX he was too rough, because this is now with Diddy and Mace with the shiny suits and coming with dogs. Yeah, DMX is this dirty little kid, rough, and it was like it worked. Look at Prophetess Likes Biggie. Biggie was not aesthetically attractive as a rapper.
Aesthetically attractive.
Somebody thought he was fine, but it was like,
Faith Evans, apparently.
He thought he was cute. So it's interesting to see, like, but what I think is lacking is now nobody wants to take that chance. Like, be different, like be the new artist. Everybody wants to sound alike. Everybody wants to look alike, when you need to be the artist that changes the game. And we don't really. Okay, Robin said too, Little Kim, before Little Kim, girl rappers had clothes on. You had like MC Light and
Rod Digger.
And the Little Kim came out much more provocative.
Yes.
So she
and Foxy Brown.
Yes.
Foxy Brown too.
Yeah, they changed the game. They changed the game. So they need
sure. Wow. Janice said there's really somebody for everybody, for real. I don't even know. We started talking about some other stuff. So let me ask you this. I have a question for you.
Okay.
I strongly feel that if Rihanna had not called the police, that Chris Brown literally would be this modern day and age generation's Michael Jackson. He would be Baby Mike. Not saying that it still can't happen, but I strongly believe, just watching his showmanship, not only that, Chris can sing, Chris can dance, Chris got the swag for it. What's your take on that? Do you feel like he had the potential to be that guy?
Absolutely. I think Chris Brown is one of the most talented
artists.
His dancing, his singing, and then he makes good music. Like not everybody makes. We can count if we really broke down all artists, I think we could come up with about 30 that say who make good music, like consistently over you're talking about years and years and years and years. I will say that Chris Brown is a lesson, and he was young, but just being mindful of what you do, because the decisions we make, the things that we do, the people we date, it can really just completely ruin your life. So
say that again, Tay, for somebody who may be in a relationship now and they're noticing little signs that their spouse may be throwing like partial shade about what they do, or they just keep joking about things that kind of make them kind of pull back. Like, say that again, who you date, who you marry.
I think who you date, who you marry, your friends, the decisions we make, it could really make or break you, period. But especially in the music industry, because, we don't know what necessarily happened that night, but obviously there was some level of altercation and it completely derailed his career. While on the other hand,
hers shot up,
completely went through the roof. So I don't know who was right or wrong, but it's just the difference in what can happen to somebody's career. And I think Chris Brown, so if he was on the wrong end, he got to hold that, he got to eat that, but he was young, but he got to hold that. But I agree with you. I think Chris Brown, and I'm shocked because for a lot of, male artists, the reality is they don't really have repercussions. So I'm always shocked by what about him made them really stick it to him.
Yeah.
R. Kelly, it took R. Kelly 20 something years. Diddy, it's like 20 years later. It was like whatever with Chris Brown, it was like immediately we're done with this
going guy. Down. Yeah.
And it was like everybody kind of like worked together. So I'm just, and not this, like I said, not to say, oh, I'm pro Chris Brown, but I'm just shocked as to why, or confused as to why with him, it was like they really were like immediately like, no, he's out of here. Like
that's true.
No, they really.
Now the one thing I respected about him though, although he was in that bad situation, that 30-track album he dropped sitting in prison was crazy. Now how did he do it? We don't know. But that boy, he kept his head on straight and he came out. That's like a great redemption story to me. Like he came out swinging. You know what I mean? Like he didn't allow it to hold him back. And yes, we did hear his rap to Quavo, and
it was actually not bad. It was
cold. It was cold. I ain't gonna lie. It was cold. Like for real. Okay, so this is some good stuff, Tay. Like we're really enjoying getting to know you a little bit better. So now we know that you're working on, getting radio play. Is this for songs that you currently have on an album, or is this new material that you're working on?
So I've never created an album. I have been saying that I was going to do an EP. Once again, the reality of today, the album, we don't have the attention span of albums. So a lot of people are like, well, it's funny what people are doing. So a lot of people are creating albums, but calling them mixtapes in case they flop.
Right.
And then some people are coming out with EP, because before albums were 20 songs long. We don't have the attention span anymore of that. So an EP would make more sense. That's a little bit more, maybe about 8 songs. That would make more sense. But I do have songs that are radio ready and friendly, but I personally am coming to the realization that I need to give it to somebody else and let them take it and run with it. So
why is that?
It's about selling it. There's certain things that I just don't want to sell. It's like areas that I would have to. My music is, to be honest, much more provocative. I'm getting closer to God. I'm getting more mature just as a woman, and it's certain things that I was comfortable. You know, when you're younger, you don't really have a filter.
For sure.
It's like whatever, and it's not horrible, like, you know, but it's appropriate for my personality at the time. So now that I'm evolving, it's just more so like understanding like somebody else can sell this better than I can.
Got you.
So it's just a realization like, let me give this to them who can really sell it, because there's a level of also uncomfortability. And like you said, I can easily go get with an artist developer who can turn me into this person, but am I really this person? Now I have certain elements of this person because I made the song, but I'm not too sure. I'm not gonna say I'm not sure. I'm sure that I'm not interested in selling this. But I'm comfortable enough to be honest. I can write it and let somebody else take it and run with it. Cool. So that's where I'm at with that.
Got you. That's amazing. So how was it balancing like the church world and industry for you? What did that take?
Say it again?
What did that look like for you? So what was the balance for you for like church world and industry? Like, of course, you know, like you say, you and I both grew up in the church, and you know, your passion and your drive was rapping, but it was like R&B side of things, right? Like hip hop side of things. What did that look like for you growing up and even now? Like, what was that? And even to hear you say, you know, I know that I'm evolving, I'm getting closer to God. So some of the content that I wrote about, I necessarily don't want to rap about, but I don't mind writing it for somebody else to rap it, and I get that check. I totally understand that, you know what I mean? But what was that like for you? Like understanding, because your parents were pastors, yes? Your parents are pastors, right?
Yes.
So understanding that your parents are pastors, you grew up in this Christian household, what was that like to say, hey, I want to rap, but it's definitely not going to be gospel music?
Yes. So what's interesting, my personality is very, I am who I am. So I don't believe in shame. Like, I'm not ashamed of anything. Like, I feel like I'm a human being. Whatever I do today, I felt like doing it today. So tomorrow I'm not going to beat myself up about it. Now, I don't mean don't learn from it. Like, I don't want to do that again, maybe. But on whatever December 27th was, I felt like being that person. So I can tap into and see why I don't need to be that person again. But what's done is already done. So that's just if anybody who knows me, I have a very I am who I am personality, but also understanding that growth is necessary. So I never really cared as far as how I looked, but I did worry about like how the conversations that my parents would have to have. So for me, I was fine with it. Like, this is how I am. Like, I think outside of the box. Like, I'm not a woman that people tell me to be. I'm the woman that I want to be. This is before, of course, getting closer to God. That's a whole nother aspect. But before I understood that, it was like, this is what I like to say. This is what I like to do. And it is what it is. And it may not sound the best, but like, I've just always been unapologetically me. So I knew like, this is what I want to say. And then when you're in the church, there's a lot of people who are not being who they want to be. So I never wanted to be that person. Like, I come from people, whether it be their sexuality, whether they be the job they want, whether they be in a marriage they don't want to be in, or married, period, at that time. It's just to see a lot of people just live for other people and do what they're told. That always was like a big no for me. It was like, I never want to be that person. So in my journey, it was like, this is what I want to do. So basically with the music, it was like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want to do. I'm an adult. So I always brought my first video, my first song. I literally sat both of my parents down and said, okay, this is what I'm doing. You already know my personality. And I mean, this is respectful. Like, I'm not like, my parents, I've never been a disrespectful person. But mom, dad, this is what I'm doing. You guys are pastors. So people are going to see this. So I want you to see what it is and what it's not. And then you could go from there.
Yeah.
you can go from there because somebody can tell them something that could be worse. I mean, well, they can make it seem like it's worse than what it was.
Absolutely.
Somebody can tell them something and it may be it actually is worse than what they were told. So it was like, this is what it is. This is what I'm doing. And then let me know. And they were like, it's funny. It was like my dad, he was like, he said, this is actually good. He's like, you got a lot of bad words in there, but this is actually really good. Like, wow. And then my mother, she just was like, because she actually used to rap back
really?
in the day.
Pastor Mia used to rap?
Yes.
Let me find out.
Call her Sweet Mimi next time you see her. Yeah, she rapped back in the day with like with Run DMC, she ran with so yeah, I have a cousin who was a DJ for them. So it goes back. So she was actually shocked. And when I started rapping, I never knew that she rapped. She ended up telling me. So she was like, this is the same thing. Like, if you just polish it up a little bit. But of course, they're my parents. They don't want to hear, me say certain things. But I do appreciate that. And I think for people who are in the church with children, just to an extent, let them be them. Like, I never had to rebel. Like, a lot of kids have to rebel. I've never felt constrained. I've felt like, where they had to stand 10 toes, they stood 10 toes. But when they understood that we were getting older and we had to be free, I think my parents had a great balance of that. So it never required me to be some crazy rebel. I never had to sneak around and do anything. I never had to be a deceiver or a liar. It was like I was able to be myself. Now, of course, they had their opinions because just like I said, I want to do this. Your parents going to tell you what they like and don't like. So they did explain, but it was always, well, you grown. That was my mother. When I first got my tattoo, I respected my mother enough to wait till I was 18 because that was her rule. You turn 18, you can do whatever you want. So I waited till I was 18 and then I got my tattoo. Her first thing was like, well, you grown, I guess. But what else could she say? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What else could you say? I waited. Give me the kudos that I waited, like you said, until I was 18. But then now I did these things. It's like, so I think that's important. I think a lot, and I'm not a parent, so I don't know what that's like. But from being on the other side, I think parents try to control too much, and it backfires. Like I think they try to shelter a little bit too much, and it backfires. And I'm sure that's easy for me to say. I don't have the kid, but it can.
I've seen it happen. I think if anybody who talks to Apostle, that's why she'll tell you, she's like, that's why I allow Hannah to come and talk to me freely, because to your point, she's like, I don't want her to feel like she has to sneak to do anything. Like, allow me to be understanding enough to hear what she has to say and to guide her, where she needs to go, but allow her to know that you can come and talk to me about anything and don't have to feel scared. Because like growing up, down south, it was just certain things you did not go talk to your parents about. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a boundary that you just did not cross. You know what I mean? And so, so I understand what you're saying about, allow your children the creative space while still, keeping them in guidelines to not just go crazy and just, really lose their minds out here. You know what I mean? So I appreciate the fact that although your parents are pastors, that they did allow you to explore that creative side of you, even though it looked different, you know what I mean, than what they may have thought your journey may have looked like, you know what I mean, creatively. So that's kudos to Pastor Mia and your dad, for giving you that space. So who were some of your favorite artist inspirations? Like who motivates you? Who encourages you? Who do you say, man, like that's pretty dope? Like, okay, who give you that, you know what I mean, that will to want to keep pushing forward?
All right, so I will say, growing up, I loved Little Kim, and I'm gonna say why. Little Kim, like, regardless of how we feel about her appearance, what she says, I'm big. Do what you want to do because it's you. So for her to come out and really just be a little bit more provocative, sexier, and I know those words are like taboo on the religious side, but it's like, it's empowering. Now, if you take that and polish her up a little bit more, then that's somebody that can speak to a generation to really motivate them, because that's it's empowerment, it's confidence. Now we know her story, a lot of it, once again, is cultivated because we see she's a human being with struggles in certain areas. But it's like, just imagine that being put in, just imagine little Kim preaching. It's like, that seriously, it's like that boldness, that I don't careness, but with Jesus behind it.
All I can see is during praise and worship is this right here.
Word, yes, for sure, absolutely, yes. Yeah, because she reached people in a different way. She gave women confidence. She gave women the want and the power to speak up. A lot of women in those areas, I'm not going to get into detail, but women began to speak up. So it's like, if you think a little bit deeper outside of the box, that's what she did for a generation of women. They spoke up. They began to speak about what they want and needed. I'll leave that alone there for that. But and I love Jay-Z because his lyricism. Like, Jay-Z is a very lyrical person. I love his storytelling abilities. Like, I'm a big Jay-Z fan. If you listen to my music, I'm very lyrical. Like, a lot of the wordplay. Like, I like to use big words. I like to mix. Like, it's effort. It really takes effort and thought process. Like, even with the biggies, to put those words together, it's like, that is a talent. And then I used to read, Jay-Z used to read the dictionary. I started reading the dictionary because you run out of words. I would say him. And then I'm a big fan of Beyonce because of her work ethic. Like, I know if I had Beyonce's work ethic, oh please, I would have been like, she's like a machine.
You can't take it away from her. The girl gonna work. She gonna put that work in, like, for real.
And a shocker, one of my favorite artists is Kirk Franklin.
Word.
I love Kirk Franklin, and I love Kirk Franklin it's a joke from when I was a kid. Like,
oh my God's Property days. No,
yes.
It's the family. I think the family was first.
It was the family first, and then he went to God's Property. Yes, but yeah, I'm a big Kirk Franklin fan. His energy, as far as with gospel, even when I kind of left the church, I always listened to gospel. I never stopped. Like, I stopped going to church for like years. But I always listened to gospel, and I guess that kept me, like, from going a little bit too far. Yeah. But I love Kirk Franklin's energy. I love the way he now he be dancing, he be doing a lot now, but before it was like the way he brought gospel to mixed gospel with like hip hop. It wasn't he didn't lose his integrity, I felt like. Right.
He's a dope writer for sure.
Yeah, so I'm a big Kirk Franklin fan. So I would say I can go all day, but those are like a big deal.
Okay, so Nas, Common, Mos Def, or let me think. Oh, I'm gonna throw in Kendrick. Out of the four, as I would call, I will say Common is probably my personal favorite lyricist. That's just me. I like the poetry behind it. But out of the four, who would you rock with first?
Nas.
Hey,
I would do Nas first, then Kendrick, then Common, then Mos Def.
What? You put Mos Def at the end?
Yeah, I'm not crazy about Mos Def. Once again, the reason why, again, beats. Yeah. So all of those, they all are great talents, but I never really loved, outside of Nas. Kendrick is okay with the beats he picks, but it's the beats that don't get me with Mos Def. Common, The Light is one of my favorite songs. Mm-hmm. So I love that. And then he had another one with, what's the one with Mary when he's outside her house? Is it Mary? Well, he's not outside her house, but
close to
yes,
me.
Come Close.
Baby.
Yes. And then he has one more that I love, the Testify song. So I like Common.
Common is I really like Common.
Nas is cute. Come on, Nas is cute. He's the cutest.
What y'all say in the chat? Who y'all going with first?
Somebody said
Nas and K9.
Kendrick is a problem. Yeah, Kendrick is a problem.
Who y'all got in the chat out of the four? Who going first off that list? Nas, Mos Def, Common, or Kendrick? Who y'all got?
I'm rocking with Nas.
You rocking with Nas?
He's cute. Yes.
He is a cutie patootie.
Yep. He got definitely the swag. Nas got the swag, you know. Kendrick got a little swag too.
Oh, Prophet said Nas and Kendrick.
Yes.
Y'all ride with Nas today. Come on.
Yep.
Come on. KB says Nas. Robin Hale says Nas.
You know, Nas is the only one who ever did some damage to Jay-Z, and Jay-Z is my favorite, and Nas is the only one that could keep up.
I love it. I love it. All right. So last thing before I before I quit holding you too long.
Okay.
So how do you define success? For someone who may be listening to us today or on playback, and they would like to they would like to get their foot into walking into that industry door, right? What would you tell them? How would you tell someone to define success for themselves? Like, and of course, just social media and all the things I think they've falsely defined it for us of what it should look like, not knowing that some of the stuff that they present to us isn't even true, or it's not all of what it's cut out to be. So how would you tell somebody to define success for themselves?
Okay, that's a good question. So first, I would say you have to really be self-aware. Well, let me do that second. First, outline what you want out of whatever the industry, if it's specifically musically. Like, for example, like Jay-Z, he just wanted to create one album.
Mm-hmm.
So he did it. After he created the one album, it was like, no, we got to keep going. So now you're talking about somebody that has became a billionaire from what he wanted was one album. So that would have been technically his success. So it went to a whole nother level. So you have to really outline what you want. What goals that you have? And I think they should break it down, because with me, it doesn't mean that that's their issue. I think big a lot. And then it's like those small little pieces I lose sight of, because I'm just thinking of the big picture. Now, I know for me now, I think of the big picture, and then it's like all these small goals that have to be successful before I get to the big goal. So define what you want. What are you looking for in smaller steps rather than big steps? So after you have your idea of the steps you want to tackle, then you have to be self-aware. And I'll relate it to myself. I want to be a rapper, but I also don't want to run up and say, hi, I'm Octavia, I'm Rain. And so you have to be realistic of what it takes to get where you're trying to go. And are you willing to do those things? Can you do it? Because you may not have the ability. You could be a mom or a dad, and you have a job. So no, you can't be in the studio all night. It's just not realistic.
Right.
So have a little bit of self-awareness of what you're asking for and what it takes to get there. So that'll be number 2. Number 3, see what you can do yourself and see how you need to get help from everywhere else. A lot of people like to say they're self-made, but you need help. You need a lot of help. So outline what your help looks like, your team, what that looks like. I would say that would be number 3. Then 4, do the research on what you're asking for. What's reality? Because a lot of it now is not real. Like somebody thinks, and I thought this too, like, this is a song. I made this great song. Now it's supposed to just blow up. I used to think that when I was younger. And it's like, no, there's so much work that goes into creating. Now you need a visual. Now you need a package plan to make this song push. Now you need to go to radio. When you go on the radio, now you need money. You need a couple $1,000s for each DJ.
Yeah.
Not even a radio. You need a couple $1,000 for each radio person to play your song.
Yeah.
So do the research to understand what it takes, but also the reality, so you don't get discouraged when things don't necessarily work out the way, because it's just not the reality that this song, Jay-Z, again, I'll bring him up. He didn't blow up again. The first album was successful, but he didn't blow up to the second album. He has a line. He says, y'all didn't appreciate my first album till the second one came out. So understand that it may not happen right now, but if it's meant to be and you do the work, I always say hard work and talent, but then of course you have God in it, anything is possible.
Absolutely.
So I would say all of those things, just to have the reality of what is required in the industry. And I think you can go from there. And then also understand the importance of pivoting and changing directions. I'm not scared to start over. Some people are so scared in life to start over. I will start over and you can rebrand 1,000 times. Just understand that goes along with that self-awareness. just to say, all right, this isn't working like this. Maybe we need to try it a little bit like this. But it's tricky with that because you still have to maintain some level of who you want to be and who you are that you started with, while still making certain changes, but not completely compromising who you are. So
I love that.
My advice.
I love that. Okay. And inquiring minds want to know, how did you come to know about Apostle Kelly, and how did you guys first meet?
I have a god sister who actually happened to be a previous student of Prophetess, which I didn't know at the time. So I was like on Facebook. This is around the time Facebook kind of like, because Facebook was like dying before COVID. So
No,
it was
for
like,
real.
it was. So I wasn't even like a Facebook person. I don't know how I ended up on Facebook. And I thought she sold hair. You know, she has the pretty hair. So I ended up clicking, like, it was something with hair. I'm like, oh, maybe she sells hair or something. So I ended up clicking, and it just so happened that I ended up going through and clicked the live. And it was, I think it was Cold Blue. And I remember because I went through a bad breakup at that time. So I always correlate like dates with experiences. So it's like I'm able to remember certain dates by what I was going through. So I know it was like Cold Blue because I was going through a breakup at that time, and she was just speaking about the heart, emotional wounds, and all that. So again, I hadn't been interested in church in a long time. This is like a very long time, but I actually sat and listened to somebody, and I was blown away, to somebody like preaching for longer than 5 minutes. It was like, I'm still here. So around that time too, there wasn't, I don't think, a Facebook app. So if you weren't on Facebook, it was something about the live. You had to be like following them. So I couldn't watch the lives when she was on at the time, because this is like 2019. So I would always have to come back when they were over. So like you can, I don't know if you can see it, but you couldn't press play. So
unless you were their friend.
Yes. So like a couple weeks, I just kept going, just finding myself going back, and no disrespect to her, but it was like, this lady, I've been watching this lady. So I've been watching for weeks, and next thing you know, it turned into months. And I ended up telling a cousin of mine, she comes sometime, Alicia. I say, I've been watching this woman, like, she was like, who? And I was like, a preacher. She was like, a what? Like, you was watching a preacher? And I'm like, yeah, I'm confused too. I don't know, but I keep watching, and I'm like, check her out, check her out. So she ended up going, she said, yo, like, I see what you're saying. I see why you would like her. So she ended up buying, she said, okay, I'm gonna get you her book. So she ended up ordering herself and me the book on Amazon. So I ended up reading the book. So just to fast forward, that was 2019. I think it was like 2021. I said, like, because my father always pushed paying tithes. So that was like a big deal. So I said, you know what? And I'm still not interested in church. I'm still not there. But it was like, I want to pay my tithes to this I'm just going to do it. So I started, I think it was 2021. I said, all right, I'm doing whatever I want with my money now, but starting January 1st, whatever first check I get after that, I'm going to start sending the tithes to this ministry. So I sent it, and I was never going to say anything. I was never going to talk or anything like that. I ended up getting an email, because she used to always say, oh, email us if you want to join. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, let me just. And then, a lot of people
say, I ain't doing that.
Like, I don't need them to know me. I don't need none of that. And then a lot of times you think, and I was actually impressed, because not most, but a lot, they don't care. It's just you're sending them money. That's all they care about. So someone ended up emailing me, because I know she was like, who is this person? Like, she wanted to know who was sending her money. And I thought that I respected that a lot, because I keep saying most, but a lot, it didn't matter who I was. Give them my little whatever, and they're going to go from there. So I responded to the email, and Prophetess, she be asking questions, and I'm like, why is she asking me all these questions? Just like, take the money, Dad. Like, it's just, this is a lot. And like, I guess it was like a fight, because I guess God knew what would be coming. So like when you in like that fight mode, just everything is gonna annoy you. So it just was like, why are they asking me all these questions? Like, just
she still asking a lot of questions. It ain't gonna change.
Yeah, it was like, just take the ties. Like, who cares about who I am? Just take the money. But also the other side is like, you're, because this is somebody that's just wants to know where this money is coming from. So a couple weeks, or maybe a couple months after that, I ended up telling my mother, like, I've been actually listening to, again, this lady. She's like, what lady, Octavia? And I'm like, oh, like a preacher. She was like, which one? She thought I was joking. So It was between Prophetess, and I won't say the other person. It was another one that I would listen to sometime. Mm-hmm. But I liked that Prophetess was much more free. Mm-hmm. Like, once again, my personality is like, women in the church, they're kind of constrained. And I don't like that. I like be free. Like, for her to be busting out in a Biggie rap and stuff like that. It's like, this is not somebody that's just doing what they're told to do in the church. This is somebody who is, moving to the beat of their own drum. So that's when the other person ended up getting knocked out the box. Like, I stopped listening to them, focusing more on Prophetess. So fast forward, sorry, let me speed it up.
Oh, you're fine.
The Lady Light conference was coming up. I knew I wasn't ready. I was like, absolutely not. I'm not sitting in no conference for, this was just honestly my mindset. It just was, I was churched out. I'm not sitting in no conference for a couple of hours. Absolutely not. I'm not doing that. So I ended up telling my mother, because they were going to be it was in Georgia. I said, Ma, like, remember the person I was telling you about that I've been listening to? You think you would want to go to her conference? And my mother's very spiritually inclined. I was looking for, if I be honest, for my mother to go and come back with a bad experience.
Oh, wow.
So I guess it was subconscious, though. It was like a fight, I guess, to not be a part of it. So I was like itching, and I was actually at a party turning up. My mother was calling me, leaving Lady Light conference, because I ended up sending her. She called me, and I'm waiting. I'm like, so how was it? I'm waiting for her to say, girl, they was this, they was that. She was like, oh my God, I loved it. And I was like, oh man, like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, she liked it. So then she's like, oh, and guess what? She's gonna be in New York. I think it was like the next month. She's gonna be in New York, and I'm gonna go. Are you gonna come? And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go. So she kind of like gave me a guilt trip. She's like, I went, and you asked me to go, and I went, so you can go. So I was actually trying to get out of it again. I scheduled a hair appointment that day. So I was like, well, I can't make it. My hairstylist ended up calling me and saying, Octavia, I need you to come 2 hours earlier. And it was so crazy. I get my hair done in Queens. So it was like all right. And I was just like still fighting it. So I get my hair done. I'm over here. It was like my mother's calling me like, you done? I'm not a liar. So it was like, all right, I'm done. So I ended up, and I took like a slow walk, and I don't mind the train, but I don't like the bus. Ended up looking on my phone, taking the bus to Friday Night Fire. And I went, and it was cool, but I'm the same. I'm sitting in the corner. I don't want nobody to bother me. Like, I'm here. My mother's over here. She's like waving, and I'm like, yeah, like don't make don't make it.
Don't draw no attention to me, right?
Yeah, like yeah. So at the end, I'm going to leave, and she's just like, well, you have to say hi. Like, you have to. And I'm like, no, she's busy. A lot of people are walking up to her. So she's like, Octavia, you have to say hi. And I'm like, well, she's busy. Like, I don't want to go in there and stop her. But she's like, Octavia, you cannot come all the way here. You send your ties here. But she kept saying, this is your pastor. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, I just send. She's like, you send the money to her church. You listen to her. This is your pastor. Like, this is your pastor. So I'm like, no, it's not. Like, I just send her ties, she speaks, and that's just that. Just me being difficult.
Yeah.
So she's like, she grabs me. She's like, you're going to say hi to this woman. You're not going to leave here. That would just be disrespectful. So that clicked, like, that would be disrespectful. I'm not a disrespectful person. Let me come. So I went and said hi, and she just grabbed me and gave me a hug. And I am not a hugger. I do not like hugging people. And then, technically at this point, she was still kind of a stranger, but it just was like, I didn't. Oh yes, Claudie said, always sitting there just observing. Yes, so I was observing, and I thought she would be a little bit more stank. I thought she would be a little bit more standoffish, and it's just what I've seen, and not that that's the best.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
These churches, and then somebody's on live, it's thousands of viewers, this little bit of fame. It's just like I just expected something completely different, and it was the complete opposite. So she gave me a big hug, and I was just like, oh my God, I didn't push this woman off me. Like, this is different. Like, this is very weird. But we had a conversation, and she just was like, oh, you're going to come back next month? And I was like, yeah, I'll be back. And I'm big. If I kept my word, and I'm like, dang, I should have never said that. So just kept watching, and I was still in the corner, and just gradually I just got closer to everybody. And then that's where I'm at now. So like my mother, it was funny. She said, I'm gonna tell your pastor you a rapper. But remember, I had been watching Prophetess much more than my mother. So this is a woman that's busting out in Biggie raps, Little Kim. So I said, go ahead. I said, I said, she's gonna like it. She raps all the time. She's gonna like it. So I thought she was kidding. So she ended up telling me like I told her, and she sent her the links to the videos I have. Now that I wasn't too crazy about, but I was appreciative because at that moment nobody could have told me anything. So it just wouldn't. She just was like, that it sound really good. Like, same thing with, a lot of the words are a little different, but you sound really good. And it never was like I felt ashamed or because it just would have been a turnoff because I just, this is, so she embraced it. She embraced it. She let me be me. It was never like, and she would get on here and be proud. Like Octavia is a rapper. A lot of pastors wouldn't be. They'll kind of like, when you're not doing necessarily what the status quo is of religion, a pastor will more so want to hide you because it could be like embarrassing. It could be like, something that people can talk about. So I appreciated that it was never a secret. Of course, you can't get up here and promote the song. It's not the most Christian-like song, but it's like, this is a member of my church and that she does what she does, and that's it. So I always appreciated that and respected that. And with everybody else also, like they seem to like it. They seem to like it. So I'm doing something right.
Come on now.
Yes.
Well, we definitely, pray that the favor of God will track you down as you are looking into, getting into like radio side of things, and even for writing, that more doors will open for you to be able to write for not just any artist, but artists that you would like to write for. You know what I mean? Artists of your choice, because it's easy to write right now and just give it to anybody, but you want, like you said, you want somebody that's going to be influential, who's they're gonna do your song justice. Though I think for any writer, the worst thing that can happen is you give your song that you took time to write, you give it to somebody and you're like, what have they done with my song? You know what I mean? And so may the right connections be made, and that favor and preference that you definitely will be able to just walk into some doors, and it won't cost as much as you think. You know what I mean? To get into those rooms, those effective rooms that will definitely catapult you to that next level that you're desiring to be in. So, man, we can't wait to hear how everything turned out. Did y'all enjoy Octavia today? Y'all give it up for Tay in the chat.
Yes, I hope you did. Yes, Claudie.
Some hearts up and some fire signs and such in the chat. So, as we always do before we close out the live, for one, I wanted to ask you, as far as, we are a giving ministry, and of course, we never have to coerce our people to give, right? But is there, did God place anything on your heart for us to sow into this live today?
I would say I want somebody to give something with a 7. So whether it be 3 7s, 77, 77, just some 7s.
Sowing seeds of 7.
Yes.
Okay. As you guys are sowing, please place, I have sowed in the chat, sowing seeds of 7, wherever there's $7, 17, 27, 37, 777, 7,077. We're sowing seeds of 7 today. The ways to give are on the lower third there. And we would like to thank you. Kanisha said, beautiful testimony. We would like to thank you for just your transparency today. I'm sure you have helped a lot of people out, especially those who may have been struggling with, religiosity as it pertains to how can you love the Lord, but you can do something different type thing. You know what I mean? So I think hearing your story today helped a lot of people out for sure. So thank you for sharing. As you guys heard the woman of God say, we're sowing seeds of 7. Yep, Apostle Kelly agrees. Sowing 7. Apostle is sowing 77 today. Whether it be anyone else that will partner with Apostle Kelly and sowing 77 today. This is the final conclusion of our arts and entertainment pillar. And again, what better way to close it out than with one of our very own, Tay or Clark.
Yes.
Well, we usually call her Octavia, right?
Yes.
What better way to close out than with one of our members of Manifested Glory Ministries. So as you are sowing, please type in the chat, I've sowed, right? And of course, is the apostle talking to you?
Yes.
She said completion. Absolutely. And of course we Robin, if you're gonna spell it right. Of course, we pray the blessing of the Lord to follow each of you and to track you guys down. Thank you to everyone who has been so diligent on this 100 days of iBirth, the past 97 days. Thank you guys for, I told Apostle Kelly when we were talking, I was like, the people tired of seeing me. Thank y'all for just embracing me over the last week and a half. Just with being on live, and Robin said, my bad. And, just having the opportunity to share on the pillar of arts and entertainment, because this is, believe it or not, even in churches, like the arts and entertainment is like 90% of the service.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, you know what I mean? Like the music department literally like facilitates about 90% of most church services. And so this was definitely, I'm glad that Apostle Kelly decided to talk about this pillar of influence. And it's just good to see for our viewers to see that there's someone who loves the Lord, who's saved, you know what I mean? And they're doing well in the arts and entertainment industry. Thank you, Pastor Kabir, for sowing. They're doing well in the arts and entertainment industry, and you're not compromising. You're not selling yourself short. You know what I mean? And so big ups to you for that, because you're right. Getting into this industry, if you don't know who you are, and I'm glad you told the people that, know who you are, because if you don't know who you are, it'll be easy to accept anything. And you will allow them to form you to be who they want you to be, and not who God created you to be. So thank you for sharing that. We're sowing seeds of 7 today, ladies and gentlemen. As you are sowing, please type I have sowed, whether that's 77, 777, 17, 27, 37, 47, whatever that figure looks like for you. Don't miss this chance to sow into this ground, especially if you are one that, your heart has been being pulled towards, stepping into the arts and entertainment industry. As we are sowing into this ground today, like I believe that, all of us will begin to get strategy and insight on how to be able to break past some of those barriers and that red tape. You know what I mean? It can be a lot of red tape in the industry. And so may God just grace and favor us to be able to get past that red tape, and may our light so shine for all the world to see, that when we step in rooms that may seem as if Jesus is not welcome, that when we walk into the room, that they're open to hear what we have to say, that they create those conversations of, man, it's something different about you. And we're able to share, it's the love of the Lord that's in my heart. It's, God is my savior. Like Jesus Christ, he's the one that I'm for. Like, he's the reason why I can do what I do. He's the reason why you feel what you feel. He's the reason why, you said there's something different about me, because truly, without God, like, we will be nothing, like, for real. So may those spaces be created for conversation that we can boldly walk into, to be a light that shines in darkness, that we can be the salt and light in the world. And let me find that scripture while we are talking, just salt and light in the world. And I think, Ted, to your point, I think a lot of people, they get turned off from church because, like you said, we're not being that salt and light, because we're one way in church, and it's something totally different when we step outside of the building, instead of just embracing who we are. You know what I mean? Just allow God to do the work on you, but be to where someone can relate to you. You know what I mean? Don't be where somebody come talk to you, you're like, well, dang, like, I can't, it ain't nothing about what you're saying that I can relate to. Like, you way too deep for me. Like, you're beyond my comprehension right now for where I am. You know what I mean? Listen, look at Apostle. We have to be able to, be all things to all people, right? Not say that we're compromising, that we're adjusting and shifting to become something that we're not, but we definitely have to be salt and light in the world. Matthew 5:16 says, let your light shine. Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. And then verse 13 goes on to say, you are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing but to be thrown out. And may that not be our testimony, to where we're not sprinkling the seasonings like the you know what I mean, the little man. May we not get may we not, you know what I mean, we got to sprinkle a little Old Bay on the people, but may we be able to do that, being our authentic selves, who God created us to be. Like, God can't bless the counterfeit you. God can't work through the counterfeit you. He needs you to come to him wholeheartedly, like as you are. That way he can, you know what I mean, do what it needs to do in you and through you. And you know, that the world may be blessed, man, but for real, the world may be blessed, right? Oh, this is a good one too. Mark chapter 9, verse 50 says, salt is good, but if the salt loses its flavor, how will you season it? Have salt in yourselves and have peace with one another. So that's another, you know, that goes back to what we were saying, like when we walk in those rooms, being able to connect with other people and not condemning them, not talking down on them, but being able to embrace them where they are truly with the love of the Lord and allow God to do the work. You know, some planted seeds, some watered, and but God is God who causes the increase, right? And so may we do our job by seasoning, however that looks, in whatever field it is, whether it's government, our family, business, education, arts and entertainment, like whatever that is. When we step into these rooms, may we truly be what the Word of God calls us to be, that salt and light in the world, and however that looks, right? And so we appreciate you today for that. Again, thank you guys for sowing. Before we close out today, I do this with all of my guests. Please give the people 3 fun facts about you.
3 fun facts? You don't feel like I told it all?
No, I think it's 3 things that we don't know. Like whether it is like you like to paint, whether you like to dance, like nobody is watching, you like to bake. What are 3 fun facts about you?
Well, I already gave one. I used to play the saxophone. I think that
Yes.
I've used that one, the alto saxophone. I love to be silly. Like it's so ironic because I'm like either so serious or like not serious at all. And it's not on purpose. But I love laughing. I love comedy. I love joking. And I really just love to listen to people. Like I really enjoy observing and listening and just being quiet. And it's so interesting because, this is a joke, so I don't want to sound bad. It's like everybody always wants me to talk. And I'm like, I always want everybody to be quiet. So that's the joke. She says I do like short skirts. Yes, I do. I don't wear them skirts though, but yes, I do like short skirts. That is true.
That's so
I love
funny.
green and pink also.
Not you give AKA vibes.
Not quite, but I do love I do love green and pink. Yes.
Yeah.
That is hilarious, Prophet, short skirts.
Well, we bless God for you today. Again, thank you for being a part of our live today, day 97. And day 97, you said sowing seeds of 7. So this was the completion of arts and entertainment, right? And so we thank you again for being a part of this live today. Beautiful people, do me a favor. Give Octavia some love in the chat today. Y'all give her some love. Thank you. And we made this day be one of just full of favor and peace and joy. You have to work today?
Yes, I do. Yes,
okay, well, have a great day at work, and we will see you soon. We love you.
Thank you.
Y'all, give it up for Octavia. Yeah. And thank you guys to everyone that's sowing seeds of 7 today. Thank you so much for sowing your seeds of 7. We appreciate you again. It's 77, 17, 57, 777, whatever the Lord lays on your heart. Thank you for sowing into good ground today. To all of our first-time visitors, thank you so much for visiting Manifested Glory Ministries, our virtual live session. For the past 97 days, we have been in a series entitled iBirth, #I am a finisher. God laid this on our pastor, Dr. Apostle Prophetess Nabia Kelly's heart to let us know that the time is now for you to give birth to everything that God has put in your heart to do. We still have a couple days left in this year, beautiful people. Do not let this year end and you don't get the ball rolling. I'm serious. It is imperative that you do something to further your purpose, your destiny in God. Amen. We want to make sure that we don't use any more excuses. The year of 2025 is not the year of excuses. No more excuses. It's time to give birth. God has given you guys some amazing midwives by way of this live stream, especially our pastor, the ultimate midwife, right? To allow you to give birth, to give you strategy, to give you insight and clarity on how to push forward in the things of God. First of all, how to get past ourselves, how to get over our trauma, how to get over the excuses, how to get out of ourselves, and to truly tap into what God has said for us to do, right? So thank you guys for joining the iBirth series. We have 3 more days left on this series for live, and it's been an amazing time. Don't forget that on Monday, December 30th, we go into our 24 hours of prayer. We have a 24-hour prayer watch that's coming up on Monday, December 30th, leading into Tuesday, December 31st. We are closing the year strong with prayer, and we're bringing the new year in with prayer. What better way to set our year up and to close this year out, then with prayer and supplication. So please make sure that you tap in. The flyer will soon drop for that, but set your timers. We understand that is a work day. Again, this will be 24 hours of prayer. There will be a leader praying at the top of the hour for each hour. So as you can tap in, make sure you get in to get your prayer on. You know what I mean? We're expecting God to do some amazing things through every man and woman of God that's been laid on Apostle Kelly's heart to be a part of this 24 hours of prayer. Let your family members know, let your friends know. Listen, prayer works. Not only that, the Bible talks about prayer. You can find many scriptures on prayer, and just understanding that communication with God is what keeps us going, right? And so we want to make sure that we are sealing some things, that we are binding and loosing some things, and that we are releasing the heavens, that we are asking the Lord to open up the heaven over our lives and just pour out a blessing. Yes. Every hour we will be sowing seeds of 24 and 48 for miracles. So you're getting right now the some insight from our pastor right now. Every hour on the hour, we will be sowing seeds of 24 and 48 for miracles. Yes, prayer is the ultimate weapon. Prayer is the ultimate weapon. So to those of you, yes, every hour a leader to pray. So we would like to invite you to, again, set your watches, put it on your calendar, that December 30th, that we are starting our 24-hour prayer, 24 hours of prayer, and there will be a powerhouse leader praying each hour on the hour. And so we're truly expecting God to do some amazing things on our behalf. And again, to Apostle Kelly, thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for your yes. And also, December 31st, we will close the year out with our virtual service, right? We're going to have a virtual New Year's Eve encounter with our pastor, Dr. Apostle Prophetess Nabia Kelly, starting at 10 p.m. Make sure you tap in. Again, along with the prayer, we are sowing seeds of $365 to set our year up. We're believing that God is going to do exceeding abundantly above all we can ask or think. We're believing that the favor of the Lord is going to chase us down, man. We're believing that God is going to open up doors that no man can take credit for. The doors that need to be closed, we're believing that God is going to close them. And we're believing that the window of heaven is going to be open over our lives like never before. Not for us to hold it all in, but for us to be a blessing. We are a blessed people, and we are blessed to be a blessing. So may your cupboards overflow today. May your bank accounts overflow today. May your joy, your love, your peace overflow today. That as you encounter someone else, that you have on the inside of you the very thing that they need, even if it's financially. May we be the hands, mouth, and feet of Jesus, right? So again, 24 hours of prayer, December 30th through December 31st, every leader praying, a leader praying at the top of every hour. We're sowing seeds of 24 and 48 during that time at the top of the hour. Again, we have our virtual encounter for our New Year's Eve celebration starting at 10 p.m. on Monday, December 31st. And whatever you do, don't forget that tomorrow night, is today Thursday or Friday? Today is Friday. Tonight in New York is Friday Night Fire. Those of you that are in the New York area, please make sure that you get in the building. Friday Night Fire will take place. And I'm telling you now, we just came off of fasting. Y'all already know our woman of God comes with the fire of God. But I'm telling you, the Lord has amplified this woman's vision. He's amplified the fire on the inside of her. He's amplified her prophetic ear. You do not want to miss it. Friday Night Fire, or as she would say, fire. Y'all get in the building. Tonight, Friday Night Fire. Those of you that are in the area, please make sure. Can one of our leaders please put the address in the chat for me? Please make sure that if you are in the New York area and surrounding areas, so MGM leadership team, we need you in the building. Members, we need you in the building. Yes, Kamisha, we outside tonight. Absolutely. We outside tonight. Please make sure you post the Friday Night Fire. Thank you, Robin. Please make sure you post the Friday Night Fire flyer and tag as many people as you can. We're inviting 100 people. Come on, let's have standing room only. Standing room only in the building. You hear, Apostle? Post the Friday Night Fire flyer and tag 100 people, inviting them. It will be powerful. And those of you who are not in the city of New York, you may catch it. I believe if she may live stream it. So just make sure you stay tapped into her social media pages to see if she goes live tonight. But Friday Night Fire will take place 10631 Sutphin Boulevard in Jamaica, Queens. If you are in New York, if you are in the Jamaica, Queens area or surrounding areas, please make sure that you are in the building. We are closing out strong. This is the last Friday Night Fire for 2024. Let's close out strong. I'm telling you, get in that building with great expectation, knowing that God is going to do a new thing. He's going to do a new thing, that the fire of the living God, that the glory of the Lord, the heavy weight of his presence will be so present in that room tonight, in that church tonight. Come with expectancy. Come ready to sow seed into this ground, setting your year up, closing out the year strong. Amen. We cannot wait to hear the testimonies that will come, even with you guys being a part of Friday Night Fire, as well as on Sunday. Those of you that are in the Savannah, Georgia area, I'm talking about Savannah, Georgia. Why is Savannah, Georgia on my mind? Those of you that are in the Atlanta, Georgia area, Savannah is not that far away. Sunday night, come on, Sunday night will be our final in-person service for this year at the 6 p.m. hour. Whatever you do, get to Date Charter School, 1492. Yes, Apostle, 1492 Kelton Drive, Stone Mountain, Georgia. Doors will open at 5:30 p.m. and service will begin at 6 p.m. Robin, can you put that one in the chat for me as well? 1492 Kelton Drive, Stone Mountain, Georgia. 6 o'clock service will begin. Doors open at 5:30 p.m. I'm telling you, God is doing something special. God is doing something special with these services this weekend. It started tonight with Friday Night Fire. Sunday, Apostle has a service in Newark, New Jersey. We'll make sure that flyer has been posted on her page. Those of you, again, that are in the New York area, please make sure you show up to support our woman of God as she is speaking. She's going to, as God has given her a powerful word to release for the people of God. And what better way to close out the year for her to see her members and her supporters in the audience, right? Rooting her on and praying for her and holding her arms up. So please make sure you check out Prophetess Nabia Kelly and Nabia Kelly's page on Facebook to see the flyers for all things MGM, NKM, okay? And so again, Sunday, that's going to take place in Newark, New Jersey. There will be a word from the Lord. So make sure that you get in the room. Be there or be square. And once again, on Sunday night, we will be at Date Charter School, 1492 Kelton Drive in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Those of you in the Stone Mountain, Georgia area, the Atlanta, Georgia area, even if you are 2 hours away, I'm telling you now, you may want to get in the building, man. You may want to get into the building. Y'all, live does not do it justice. I'm telling you, live does not do it justice. Y'all want to be in the building. One more time, let's give these services again. Friday Night Fire tonight. Apostle Kelly is asking everyone to share the flyer. Tag 100 people. The location is 10631 Sutphin Boulevard, Jamaica, Queens. All of MGM leadership that's up north, we're looking forward to seeing you in the building, as well as our family members and our supporters. Get there, get in the building. And then Sunday, Apostle is speaking in Newark, New Jersey. Make sure you check out the flyer for that. Again, we're asking all MGM leadership that's up north, our supporters and our friends, to please be at that service to hold up our woman servant's arms and to just cover her and keep her in prayer and lift it up as she's on the assignment of the Lord. And then Sunday night, we will be at our church, Manifested Glory Ministries, which we are now using Date Charter School for now, 1492 Kelton Drive, Stone Mountain, Georgia. Doors will open at 5:30 p.m. We will kick off at 6 o'clock p.m. We are looking forward to seeing you guys really, really soon. Again, on behalf of our pastor, Dr. Apostle Prophetess Nabia Kelly, thank you so much for being a part of these 100 days of the iBirth, I Am a Finisher series. We have 3 days remaining, guys, on this series. And then I'm telling y'all, God is going to do some amazing things for the 24-hour watch, leading into our New Year's Eve virtual encounter, leading into the new year. Do not miss the wave of the Lord. I'm telling y'all, God is up to something good. He's up to something good, and you do not want to miss it. So on behalf of our pastor, thank you. We love you. God bless you, and we're looking forward to seeing you soon. Have a good one. Hey, I'm trying to see where the fireworks go off. I don't even know how I do it. It's not going to work. I'm just going to give y'all some love. Give y'all some love. Apostle says she love y'all. Have a good one, guys.